And then during those years, though we weren't a drum company making drums as part of our business model, it was actually killing our business model because we'd take whatever money we had from the pedals, but we wanted to pursue the drum side of it because that was, I saw if you're going to make more than just somewhat of a living for yourself and a few employees, we would need to get in to become a whole drum company. And that was, we became successful as a hardware company, a pedal company basically. Then hardware, we got into stands. We had some cool inventions with the tilterless, the toothless tilter, right? If I can say it right, which was an invention, and the adjustable felt that we had on it, which came from.
Whoa.
I know you got the story there.
No, now, what Don and I would typically do, and we still kind of do this, but we got in a room. I forget where the hell it was, and.
It was in my office.
It was in your office. You closed the door and said, "We're not leaving here till you tell me what is wrong or right with this stand." And I stood there and he said, "Well, we could make it more adjustable here. You make it easier. Drummers need to just not be, if something goes left, you got to be able to fix it fast." And then there was always this time where if you tightened up a cymbal, tighten up the wing nut on with all these pads, the cymbal was like so tight that it just didn't, you're killing it, you're breaking it, you're doing all these things. So people would just sit there and trim and cut the felts so that it felt like it could swing a little bit. And I thought, well, but you want to have that wing nut driven down tight so it doesn't fall off and the lead singer slips and falls on it and he turns around and looks at you and says, "You're fired." So anyway, I reached up and I said, "What if we had an adjustment?" And Don goes, "No, that's absolutely it. That's what we'll do. From underneath, and you can just choose your setting." And then he goes off and says that he thought of that.
Actually, where it came up at the beginning.
We thought of that.
Well, before that, you were on the road. Jonathan Moffat, you said he hits his cymbals in the back and they move too much. We got to make a way that we can make it so that he can hit them and then choke them, and because you would hit it and grab it.
Yes.
After he hit it, it moved too much, and that got the idea of come into my office. Let's see how we would.
That's where it started.
Figure out how to do that.
And then this is when we're like really pretty hungry, and there was an opportunity. I would fix drums for guys. Remember that?
That was a big part of what we would do. Make a little extra money. Guys would get their drum sets from other companies, and John would redo the bearing edge. That's how he pretty much started your reputation as being the guru of the drum industry.
Well, that was the foray into us. So it started off repairing problems that were already there. Because some of these companies, the drums look so good, but the business end of the drum was, you put it on glass and just tick, tick.
The bearing edge was not, which totally kept you from being able to tune it right.
And then if you really cut the edge, and Joe Montanari was doing that at that time.
We cut them for the small drums that we did, so you could fix somebody else's.
And they'd get them back, and I had a knack for tuning drums. And
more than a knack.
Well, anyway, so you'd hit the drum and go, "Wow, now it's a drum." And so they'd get it back and they'd say, "Could you come in the studio and help us record this next record?" So I started doing that at night, to make a few extra bucks. I got to know a lot of people. I said, "Well, could you go on the road?" And Don and I were like struggling financially. And there was just like, my first tour was going to be $300 and free T-shirts. And how could you say no to that?
This was mid-'80s, I believe.
It was 1980.
1980, okay.
And Earth, Wind, and Fire.
All right, that's right.
And so went out there and I learned a ton. We took stuff out that some of it failed, some of it was good. I mean,
I would ship it to him as the drum tech on the road, major arenas. I mean, Jackson, Michael Jackson, Madonna. I mean, it was just you were the drum tech of all drum techs for those guys.
And I was
Zappa,
which became a big part. I mean, the relationships I had with Frank and the stories.
It's another. We can do another whole show just on that.
On those stories, yeah.
But what a great way to test your products, to get it in the hands of the best drummers in the world.
Chad Wackerman.
To try them out.
And I spoke with Chad last night.
Yeah.
And we're doing a little thing here.
Yeah.
But he's still the guy. And once we started talking, Esther had the dinner ready. And you can't just disrupt these conversations, because he's telling me, God, do you remember blah, 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 when we were in Vienna or wherever? Chad. And I'm sitting there going, oh my God, it just brings me back. It's like talking to you. You know, we reminisce about stuff, and it is so healthy and wonderful. It's what we have. And especially 50 years down the road.